Hi everyone, it's Lynn. So I just wanted to come on here today and say hello. I've missed y'all. I know I haven't posted as much lately, but I have been super busy working on number one, the stitch along that hopefully everybody joins me with. And two, I also worked at a quilt show. I think you guys hopefully saw the post about the signing of the declaration quilt, which was incredible. Like, just one of those quilts, if you ever get a chance to see it up close. You know, quilts, nobody takes a good picture of a quilt. I've just decided, like, officially, unless you see quilts live and in person, they just don't have the same magic. They don't. I guess paintings are that way with me, but not as in depth as quilts are. So anyway, so I'm working on some of the secondary blocks and stuff like that. I'm going to teach in the stitch along. While I was out at the quilt show, I bought some fabric, so I was going to show you what I bought. I think the line's called Tiny. Is it Tiny? No, that's the new line. This is the Dreamer line of Tulu Pink with the parrots on it. And then it's got really fun rainbows and butterflies. I think there's butterflies, moth-looking things. And flamingos, which I just think flamingos are super cute and cool. So, I'm getting ready to go on vacation with my husband, which I'm really excited about. And so we're going to the beach. And I thought, you know what? I need a hat. So I looked up and I found a online tutorial. I think it's a Spruce Crafts. Spruce Crafts has an online tutorial on how to make one of those bucket floppy hats. So I thought, well, with the parrots and the flamingos, we're going to Florida. So hey, parrots and flamingos, I thought maybe I'll use some of this for my bucket hat, which I wanted to wear on the beach. One, to look very stylish, and two, to keep the sun off me because I'm pretty fair-skinned, and I burn, you know. So anyway, my husband's bought like kind of a tent cabana thing I think that we're going to do. So the other reason I got on here was I was going to draw a crayon, but I was stopped in my plans for the next crayon draw by a friend of mine who I had lunch with at our show. What we do is they feed the vendors, so they have this little lunchroom break area, and they, you know, it's really neat. They just like feed you chicken salad or like, you know, a sandwich really quick, something easy, so that all the vendors don't have to leave to go find something, because it's really not in the venue that they have this is, there's not a lot of fast food close. So the vendor either has to really prepare and bring their lunch, but there's not, and they don't serve food in the venue, so they can't run and just get a whatever's at the venue. So the guild serves the vendors and people, the guild members that are there and stuff. So anyway, I was having lunch with a friend of mine who's a fan of the show. Hi, Julie. Anyway, she said, I'm feeling your next color needs to be. And so she told me what my next color was. And I was like, you're not in my crayon box. You don't know. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? That'd be fun. So I went, she said, you could just put the crayons in an order and just pull out the right one. And I was going to do that, but then I thought that kind of feels not right. So, but I looked at the crayons, and apparently my Crayola box doesn't have this color. So I thought, well, I'm getting ready to go to Florida. I haven't done a lot of Florida vacations in my life. So, and I remember doing it in high school. I mean, we've gone a couple of times, but just not to this area. So the last time I was really on the Gulf Coast with friends, it was in high school, and that was in the 80s. This is how old I am, the 80s. So I thought that I would do her request. So her request was that we do for our color. So I don't have a crayon to pull out, but the color that Julie has requested, which I think is a great color, and I think we should talk about it because I think it's popular again. is emerald green. So we're going to be doing and talking about emerald green, even though it's not a crayon. They just didn't have emerald green in my Crayola box, but I only have the 48 or 42, whatever the number is. So I don't know that I would have to get a bigger Crayola box to do maybe emerald green within it. But I want to do emerald green. So this is literally fabric from the 80s. This is what they call polished cotton. So it's got a little sheen to it, and it's just a different feel of it. And I bought this at Hancock Fabrics in Paducah in the 80s. There you go. So I've had this for years, and it is actually part of the first, this is old school week. So when I started quilting, I learned how to quilt in grad school, and this I bought in, oh, maybe this is early 90s, like 1990, I learned how to quilt. And so we went to Hancock's Paducah and we picked out this and this. And this is Waverly fabric, like literally that was really popular from the 80s and 90s. And it's, again, it's polished cotton. I don't think you can see the sheen on it, kind of thing. So we're not going to have an official color, like crayon color, but we're going to do emerald green. And I love emerald green. And I love it so much, I will show you some pictures of how it was used at my wedding. And I'll tell you that story. So my sister will be quite embarrassed, but I will maybe block out her photo. So anyway, I love emerald green. It's one of my favorite colors. I think it's always been one of my favorite colors that's not orange. Like orange has been a favorite for a really long time, but emerald green, and I hadn't thought about it in a long time, but we definitely wore this color a lot in the 80s and early 90s. This was definitely the color of I think my teenage years. I think I loved green, and it was always a part of that. So, and I haven't used this emerald green in something, so I was thinking, well, maybe I should use it in something. Anyway, I hope you guys have been enjoying this. Another quick announcement. July 22nd, put it on your list. I'm going to put a link in the description of this to a Zoom link. You are invited. It is an international stitch along, and you can join. It's free, and you can join this Zoom link. I think there are, and I'll put the list out of how many people are joining us, and you can, like, we'll have enough for 100 people, so you got to get in early. But it's an international stitch along. I'm going to be on. It's for 12 hours. It will be from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. So there are people joining us from Australia and New Zealand and Canada and the West Coast, and of course I'm the East Coast, and it's going to be July 22nd. I'll put a link in the calendar, and you're going to be introduced to tons of more YouTubers that I just got to meet and hang out with, and we're going to do stitch along stuff, and we're just going to have a day of different topics and answering questions and all that kind of stuff. So July 22nd, July 22nd, July 22nd. So write that down in your calendar if you want to do that. That'll be great fun. Of course, if you want to join me in the stitch along, that is also in the link. I will put the link in the description below there, and you're welcome to join me. All of the stuff's going to be on YouTube. The first block drops July 4th. And I'm slowly getting all those filmed and edited. It takes, I know you guys, you know, unless you play with this stuff, you really don't get it. But it does take a little bit for everything to be edited and all that kind of stuff. So, but that drops July 4th. If you want to join me for the Zoom calls, then that will be every other week. And it's always going to be on Mondays. So one week you'll have a block, and then the next week you'll have the Zoom call with me, and we can chat about your block or what you're running into. And also I'm going to show you things like this little preview. Whoa. I'm going to show you stuff like that where you're going to see what I do with the block that we just talked about or just went over, and maybe other ways that you can design it. And I'm going to try to show you lots of different design setup, that kind of stuff. So that is going to be coming up as well. I'm trying to pre-film some of this stuff so it can be posted while I'm gone. But so hopefully you'll see that. Anyway, so join us for the color when we talk about emerald green, even though it's not a real crayon. Well, it may be a real crayon. It's not in my box. Like green was in my box, but not emerald green. So, and it's much darker than like a green. So it's just got a deep, rich color. It's a jewel tone, don't you? I think of jewels when I think a jewel tone when I think of the emerald green stuff. Very much saw it in the 80s and 90s. Like it was just huge. Anyway, so I'll talk about that. And join us July 22nd, which is a Friday, 11 to 11, International Stitch Along. And tons of people are joining us. If you haven't seen my interview with Steve Bland, I'll try to link that in the descriptions below. So that you can see that as well. So anyway, all right, talk to y'all later.